Right, we're live. I got right behind me, just so if anyone's tripping, there's children in the pool screaming because
Oh.
it's so hot, the water is boiling.
We just left our pool and same deal, so we get it.
Nice, nice. Do you guys have a apartment pool?
Yeah, it's like a condo complex, community pool kind of thing.
Excellent. So my first question to you, well, I want to say hello to you while everyone's watching me say hello. But so what horror movie did you watch last night?
Go
Was
ahead.
it 40?
47 meters down.
47 meters down. And
Great.
the reason why we watched it is because it's August and Shark Week, and we've been watching Shark Week or like Shark Month, and we've been like getting a little nervous because we now live back in San Diego, we're on the ocean and stuff, and that movie would not have freaked me out if we didn't start watching all the sharks, because they come up to shore.
Do you, when you go in the water, do you think, is it, because when I go in the ocean, that's the first thing I think about.
Now we do.
It's always been the first thing I've thought about because we.
You got to tell about your Hawaii story.
Well, this past like week or two was the first time I've actually been in the Pacific off of California. And it was right after we decided to watch Shark Week. So we went to, I know, it's perfect timing. We went to Black's Beach in San Diego. When I had first come out here a long time ago, my friend took me down there, and there's this like hidden trail you could walk down. It's supposed to be like this secluded beach, whatever we were going to go to. And so we went down there. It was, there's a few people there, but not crazy. Went in the water, went about waist deep, and we both saw like two little, I don't know what kind of sharks, like sand sharks, whatever, like, I don't know, yay big or whatever. And then a stingray. And as soon as I saw a stingray, I'm like, I'm out.
Right.
That was it for me. But before that, I had been in Honolulu, and I took a surf lesson, and I asked the instructor, I said, are there sharks in the water? He goes, nah, there's no sharks out here. The sharks are where the fish are. He's like, oh, there's only people.
Yeah.
Stupidly, I believed it.
Right.
He didn't have any issues, but I believed it, but I don't think that was the case.
Yeah, I was surfing in Mexico last Christmas, and I really love the surfing. It makes me feel like high, and it's exciting and all that stuff. But I was always asking like the locals, when was the last time anyone saw oh, it's been a couple of years,
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm always like,
you're going to be the one that it happens to, because
right.
Years.
Because I am always the exception to the rule when it comes to shit like that, right?
That's him.
Right.
That's this guy right here.
Right.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen to him.
I was actually boogie boarding, and the wave would come down on top of my back so hard that it made me throw up a few times.
Oh, wow.
And and eventually I hurt my back and I couldn't stand up. And I had to crawl. I crawled out of the water. Thank God there was a chiropractor there.
That's like crazy. So like, how is it, like, is the yoga helping you with your back?
Yeah, well, the chiropractor who was we were in Troncones, Mexico, she was really good, and she said that my hips had shifted. So like there's a joint in the middle, and then one was rotated forward, which was putting all this pressure on my back. And so she tried to like force it back into place, which she did. And she showed me a couple of things. And then she said, I need to open my quads, because which is like from the knee to the hip, the front of it. I used to not know what quads were, but that I had the tightness of my quads was totally fucking up my back or whatever.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, but I want to ask more questions, because like the last thing I did last night was I looked on Facebook, and then I saw, oh, by the way, this is Mark and Janet, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay. And they're from Rock N Horror Apparel, which we'll talk about later. But last night, Janet had posted that she wanted a horror movie, but not just any horror. She wanted to feel the adrenaline of fear. And I thought, well, that is really interesting. So I have questions based on that, because I can't watch that shit. Like, it does bad shit to me way deep down inside, and it doesn't go away. So how long after you watch some fucked up movie do you go back to normal? You just like turn off and like, hey, that was whatever, or does it hang around?
For me, watching a horror movie, like I'm not really good with roller coasters, so to me it's that thrill. But
Right.
after like I love being scared because it's a controlled scared. But like after the horror movies, I make him go to the bathroom with me. Like if I have to live, I'm like, I'm still scared. Like I'm scared of the dark. So I turn every light on. And if I have to go to the bathroom, he has to walk and I have to make him turn around. And then he has to walk me back to bed. So it never ends. I love to be scared. I'm most of the time with like a pillow in front of me. What's happening? What's happening? He's like, I thought you wanted to watch this. And I'm like, I do. But like I claw him. I like, if I get scared, like, because I believe in ghosts and like hauntings, and we've been haunted before. And like if I get scared, like I will literally like sleep on top of him, wrap my body around him like a snake. And he's just like, this is why you can't watch movies. And he laughs at him. I'm like, no, it's scary. And he's like laughing. So we're opposites, but at least I have him to protect me from the ghosts.
She's a little more sensitive than I am.
Sensitive.
But in terms of what you just said, the first thing that I thought, it was like, you know, we finished the movie, then we put on Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah.
That's that you know, we
put something nice
transition
on.
right out of it. You know what I mean? And it doesn't you know.
But I still will be scared and ask you to live with me.
Yeah.
Well, that's my problem with, unfortunately, the ocean, is because when I was a little kid, I told my mom I want to go see this Jaws movie or whatever. And my mom's like, oh no, you shouldn't go see that. You know, it's going to fuck you up or whatever. And then my uncle was like, oh, he's a big boy. You should let him go see it. And then my mom's like, no. And he's like, come on. And then my mom's like, okay. And I've never been right since that.
You know, that was my first horror movie. I was 2 years old and I watched with my grandparents. And after that, I'm embarrassed to say this, but I was afraid to loo on the toilet because I thought the shark would come out and bite me. And even when I got older, like 15, 14, 16, you know, all that, I thought the pool would open up and the shark. So that movie still traumatizes me. As soon as the music starts, I'm like...
Right.
Yeah.
The pool opening up is like what Freddy Krueger, when the the bathtub opens and then yeah.
See, you've seen some movies.
I know,
I love it.
Yeah. But they always fuck me up, so I'm like, I just can't do it, man. It's like, I'm like fucking an old man sleeping with the lights on.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah. So what's the most upsetting horror movie you've ever seen?
Hostel.
Okay, I didn't see that. Is that when what they make the people saw their arms off or something?
No, that's Saw. Hostel is where they it's like these kids go to a hostel and you know they're like trying to like go cross country and like stay at cheap places, and they're the one shot that messed me up in my head was where they took a knife and and they severed the what is this called, honey? Because you're
I think it's like your Achilles.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I think that you
Well, it probably would have took me a second to think about it, but you said it instantly, so I have the same answer to that question, because that exact scene was the
one they were like
the one I was like, no, it's too gory, you know, like
too real. It's like it don't really happen.
Yeah, like you could almost feel it as it was happening.
Like you felt it in your ankles, and you're like, I'm done. I think that was the most.
I remember, what's the Hellraiser? The first one, there's a scene and they're in an attic and a nail catches the skin of someone and the blood drops to the floor. That freaked me out.
He did Devil's Rejects when they like put the nail into the hands of
Otis. Yeah.
But my absolute worst one, I mean, I don't think it's called a horror movie. I don't know if you guys segregate these, but there's a movie called The Road with Viggo Mortensen or Mortenstein. I don't know
that one.
It's like this apocalyptic, people trying to survive and cannibalism thing. That movie messed me up really bad.
I have to watch that.
Yeah.
It's called The Road?
The Road. Like
The Road.
Yeah. Bad, 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 bad.
We'll have to check that
But to
out.
check, like, what messed me up really bad, like, I could watch The Exorcist, but if you read the book, it's far more scary because, like, you're reading what the devil is saying. So, like,
Oh,
I remember being on the road being like, I have to go put the book in the bathroom because I'm so scared. Like, sometimes books are worse than the movie because your brain takes you other places that the movies don't. Like,
yeah.
I really do feel like the human brain is more messed up than anything we could ever create.
Yeah, and the imagination connecting to all that and making you a part of it. Oh man. Yeah. Okay.
So do you do like all the haunts? Like, do you go to like the Halloween haunts and like do you
No, I mean, I'm surprised now that you just pointed out that I've seen like so many of these movies, but I religiously avoid that kind of stuff. It really, really, really bothers me.
Okay.
so what do you
And
do in October?
well, I
Time.
did, well, I don't know if it was in October when they do the Day of the Dead celebration at Hollywood Forever Cemetery.
November 1st.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed that quite a bit. And I mean, and this is how I know Mark, is I played in a band called The Deep End, and their whole thing was like this horror punk music. So I was like, I was around all of that, but I wasn't like just sitting down, like watching the movies or anything.
Right, right.
I
How
think
many
it's
shows
really
did,
cool that
what's
you
that?
two. I think it's really cool that like you two have this like dark history, but you both are just so like rock stars and like yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I gave her a little backstory. I mean, it was a while ago. It's been a while since we've actually chatted in real life.
Yeah. Was that a decade? I have no idea. I'm
I
totally losing track of
believe it
time.
was like June 2012 is
Wow.
what I
Okay.
remember. So
Right.
it's been over 8 years.
Yeah, I was thinking about that show. How many shows did you do with us?
I think that was the only one. I think we did a couple rehearsals and then just that kind of underground warehouse type
Was
gig.
ridiculous. So we had played the year previously that same place for the same guy, and it was packed. It was a great show, jam packed. And I was like, oh, we're doing that again? Great. And then we get there, and the guy won't turn the lights on in front of the club. And he won't open the door because he's afraid that he's going to get busted for this illegal club. I'm like, why did you fucking even book us if you're going to be like turning the lights off and closing the door? And then we have this like new guitar player, and there's like 5 people on a couch. And I'm like, what are we doing here? What is this? I mean, like, it just seemed, and I think I yelled at the guy at some point. I'm like, this is a colossal waste of time.
Right, right.
I'm like, the door's not open. You have the door locked to the club, and then you're thinking about why there's not people here. I'm like, I was,
It's
yeah.
like stupidity leak, totally.
Yeah, it was bizarre. It was definitely bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, you were an outsider, so you were just like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I had no idea what to expect. And then we got there, I was like, oh, this is cool. And then,
That was it.
weird, very bizarre. It was something that I had never done before.
Right.
Now,
That
I have
type
a
of
question.
setting.
Did you guys wear eyeliner?
I don't remember.
Did you wear eyeliner?
I don't know specifically for that show. I got to a point where I'm like, I just don't care anymore. I'm not putting eyeliner on.
I'm right here.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm tired. I can't be bothered to, like, it's enough that I have to carry my guitars. I have to put this thing on my face.
Right.
I
But
just
when-
I just
Go ahead.
enjoy seeing pictures, like old pictures of him where he's like topless with the eyeliner rocking out. It's just like with beer all over him and all over the amps. I just think it's like so rock and roll and so hot. I just hope that comes back soon. And I know you hate the eyeliner and he does too, but like I'm here for the eyeliner.
I didn't mind the way it looked okay. And my girlfriend has the exact same. You guys could talk all day long about you guys wearing eyeliner. And when I was on the road, it's just like this, like I'm like a very simple, so just like this, like something, I'm like, okay, I just don't want to have to do that anymore. But on the road, I never took it off. I would like, before every show, I would just put more on.
Just
Right.
like crap.
Just like leave it. And then people say that's unsanitary, but you know,
You
but when we
survived.
were, yeah, whatever. I mean, you know what's unsanitary is being on the road.
Yes.
Right.
Like I could never get my fingernails clean. And I would be like scrubbing them and then like the next town I'd be like, what the fuck, man? There's just like never went away. I'd be cleaning my guitar cables with like a towel or whatever. Everything is filthy.
Do you have OCD?
I don't, maybe mildly.
Okay.
I just like things clean and simple. Is that OCD?
I am like
That's-
always cleaning. Like I have OCD, so everything has to be into place. Everything has to be clean. And then I got this rock star over here.
Anytime like I take a break, like, you know, we've been working a lot lately. We've surprisingly and luckily been busy during the whole pandemic thing with the clothing company. But anytime I get a break to like go play guitar, or like I've been playing my electronic drums or whatever, I put my headphones on. And then I'll look over and she's got the vacuum like going behind me. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Like at any second she gets, she's just cleaning something.
It's
And
very therapeutic.
I mean, I appreciate it because I'm personally not going to do it. But
Ah.
I like cleaning, and I like that you were able to get me to meditate.
Oh, good, good.
That was the first time that I ever like left my body. And it was the moon one, the one at Howling, right? The Howling.
I think it was, yeah, from
It
like
was-
back
it
in
was
April.
yeah.
I think it was the Earth Day.
Yeah, it was
maybe
Earth
we
Day.
watched.
And it was the first time I ever left my body, and I became a tree. And I told them, I was like, and now I think about you when I sleep. Not like that. I don't want your girlfriend to stab me. But when I have insomnia, so I sit there and go, breathe in my nose, out my nose. My roots are into the ground, and it helps me fall back to sleep.
That's awesome because my mom uses that breathing to go to sleep as well. That
It
the
helps.
breathing. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna know about your,
Thank you for that.
oh yeah, I'm glad. I'm trying to be a service to the world. That's like beautiful when people tell me some shit works. It's fucking awesome.
Like, every time you say throw that shin up, it sounds like shit. We love it. We like.
Someone said to me, he's like, I've been taking class for 3 years with you, and today I finally realized you should throw your shin to the top of the mat. I thought you said shit, like it was like we're like getting rid of our shit, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, it
It
was-
And then the other one, what did he say when the
We just watched another one like last week. When you were like, don't you know there's a fucking yoga class going on? We were cracking up,
Yeah.
breaking
It's
our Zen breathing, and we just started laughing. It was,
But we
it was
love
great.
your stories, and we love like that first like things that you talk about, and like how you bring, like you don't just start your yoga, like you kind of bring you into like this. It's nice what you do. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad. That's awesome.
Do more stories and tell us more, because it's like we like that. At least-
Yeah, I try to come up with a story for every class, and like sometimes like I'll be laying at bed at night and I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll tell that story. And then I don't get up and write it down. I'll be like, yeah, I'll remember that tomorrow. And then like class starts, I'm like, fuck, what was that story? And all my stories are, to me, they seem like so non-yoga related half the time.
I
Just
love
like-
that. And so does he. Like we were talking about like no gas in the car, and you're
Right.
going to audition, and you're with Fran Drescher. We're just like, oh, we're dying. It was
Yeah.
hilarious. So,
That was so awesome. And she was so cool. She was so cool. Cause I'm like, the hostess with the mostest, you know, the fucking
and you're like
smile.
so excited. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, no, of course it did. But you guys selling a lot of pillows?
Not
Yeah, Hocus Pocus pillow here.
shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
We haven't sold it. We don't sell a ton of them. They're really expensive to ship, but we handful here and there.
Yeah, I'm just curious because I did a thing, and my girlfriend insisted I did a pillow because where it comes from, there's a pillow involved with the story. It's a long story. I don't necessarily need to tell because I want to talk to you guys. But I was just curious how many people are out there searching for pillows and
It's a handful.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of that like spooky home decor thing. And, you know, we kind of, especially with Halloween coming up and being that we're in the pandemic, people are probably not going to be going out as much. So, you know, they've been buying them, decorate their home. You know, it's all about those Instagram pictures and this
right.
and that. But yeah, they do okay. I wouldn't say they're a top seller, but they're good.
Did you guys just like fall into this? Like, hey, let's make a T-shirt that says some shit on it, you know? Or
Yes, pretty much.
Well, you're not. He wanted to start a clothing company.
I'm going to turn the air on because
Okay,
I'm
turn the
like
air.
dripping sweat.
Before we met, we both wanted to have a clothing company. You know, I did a few horror movies and he was a musician. And when we met, we wanted to do something together. And we both love fashion. And we sat in bed one night and we're like, let's do a clothing company. And then it snowballed from there. And we just created Rock N Horror going on 7 years now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
so, because you have a lot of like, I wrote one of them down. I can't remember if this is it or not. It said the moon made me do it. Is that one of your shirts?
Made me do it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so there's like, seems to be this connection to like witchcraft and paganism. And is that connecting to your work in doing, I didn't know that you did horror films, but is it connecting to that? Or are you just like laying in bed going, that would be fucking funny. Let's do it.
I think it's a mixture of both because we do practice holistic healing. So we do all like holistic, you know, we're into like, you know, Nak Champa and saging and also doing tinctures and making like, you know, since he's a singer, I learned to make, you know, special potions for his throat so he, you know, doesn't blow his vocal cords, or I don't know about blowing it, but kind of just keeps
Yeah, I mean, you
lubricated,
do like you know, the green tea and
like
the
green tea
turmeric
with the turmeric and the lemons and like the sage and everything. So like I'm really into like that, and I'm really, you know, into like that kind of, I wouldn't say that we're like into hardcore. Like,
I think you're more into the spiritual and just
like
the natural.
Witch, yeah.
Right.
And
right.
So like I read a lot of books, he reads a lot of books, and then we sit there and one of us will have an idea and then the other one will be like, oh, like, well, let's add this. So it's kind of like both of our brains, if they had sex, made Rock and Horror, and this is what it is.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
She kind of, a lot of the time she'll come up with an idea. She'll say like, you know, I want to do this. Like in terms of that, it'll be like, I want to do a shirt that says like the moon made me do it. And I'm like, all right. And then, you know, I get on Photoshop or designing or whatever. And I'm like, all right, well, how about this? And then I'll be, you know, I always say, I need your approval. And then it's yes, no, maybe. And then we go from there.
We're always pretty here. Like I usually come up with like a little bit of a concept and then he takes it to the next level. And I'm like, oh, this is better than I even thought about. So it's like good to have him, because if I did it, it'd be like probably like kitchen scratch.
Right.
And he does it, and it's like I'm like, yes.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm not trying to be too animated.
No, you're fine.
I get happy.
Good, be animated. But I love when collaboration, like even in music, like you're like, well, I could tell the drummer just to do this, but let's see what he does first. And then he does something and you're like, oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah, a whole other thing.
Like magic.
Yeah, total magic. Like the connection of two people's different filters and creative process, creating like this artistic baby that's like a bigger thing than both of them.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, we really didn't have any idea what we were doing. You know, in terms of what she said before, we kind of just, in terms of going into the screen printing process and actually making this stuff, you know, we bought a DVD on Amazon, watched it, and learned how to screen print. But in terms of the ideas and just how it's all developed over the years, it was very just kind of organic, and whatever happened. Like, let's try this idea. Okay, this isn't working. Let's do this. Oh, that works. Let's do more of this. And just in terms of the business end of it,
And also learning like different fabrics, what prints well, what doesn't print well. We like soft clothing, lightweight clothing. Like we don't like heavy, rough clothing. So we went through like a lot of different brands of the blanks. And now I'm proud to say that he can lift up a medium shirt without even looking and go, this is a medium, this is a 2X. This is a small, like you could feel the weight because it's what we do every day. Like you could just pick up a shirt and know the weight, know the texture, know the brand. And it's just getting to know what you're working with. And that's like the coolest part about it.
Yeah, I remember do they still make the beefy tee?
They do. They do. They do.
It's not a fun shirt.
No, it takes you like a decade to break that thing in, man.
You
Yeah.
gotta bleach it and then wash it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The BPT, I love that.
Yeah, I remember. You know, like certain bands, like because we do all our printing too as well, and bands will hit us up and they'll be like, "Oh, like how much could I get? How many shirts could I get for like $200?" And I'm like, "I don't know, 10." And it's gonna be on the beefy tee or whatever. But the whole process from we started back in Janet, 2013, I think. Until now has just been trial and error. It's been just figuring it out. I mean, we still in the printing process screw a bunch of stuff up all the time. The designs go through a lot of, trial and error. Oh, this works, this doesn't work, whatever. And honestly, we just figure it out as we go because up until doing this, we had no clue about this industry. We just knew we wanted to kind of branch out into doing it. So here we are.
Yeah. Are you sometimes surprised what sells and sometimes surprised what doesn't sell? Like you're like, this is great. Why doesn't anyone fucking buy it?
Right. Yeah. Maybe Janet will have a better example of
be like, yes.
something that, we're surprised sells or doesn't sell or whatever, but it happens, I would say pretty regularly. We're like, he said, is there like instances where we're surprised that something either is like, oh, everyone's buying it or no one's buying it, and we're like, why isn't this selling?
The most basic idea, and I don't want to use the word basic, but just something so simple, just words. Like we have a shirt that goes, I always wear black so I'm ready for your funeral. And it will, no design, but it will sell. And then we'll do this thing was like, he'll draw all this crazy art and we're just like, hello, there's like more art to this. So
sometimes I think it's really just what people can relate to. And if that's just simple words, people are like, oh, because we do a lot of conventions up until now, and going on the road and this and that. And people will come up to our booth and they'll be like, oh, look at that. Oh, that's so me. Oh, that's so me. And it just might be that simple, every day is Halloween t-shirt, or I always,
witch, please.
Right,
or,
right.
Sorry, the moon made me do it. Like just little things, because I'm definitely ruled by the moon. Like if we have a full moon, I have a migraine.
Oh.
Booty, like everything. His mom's the same way. So I think that's where the moon came into it. So it's just kind of like those things that just kind of happen. Like we have a show, it's called Ride or Die Witch. And, a lot of the biker chicks like that.
Right.
And it's really kind of cool to see who adapts to what and then who doesn't adapt.
Yeah, that's like biker community and then the horror community. And then I like my girlfriend said something about the leggings that have the moon phases on them.
Moon phases,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Those are like our top sellers, right?
Yeah.
Oh, really? What is your top seller? That or anything else?
For leggings, that would probably be.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the leggings, the moon phase, and again, just simple, you know what I mean? Not overcomplicated, not too crazy, artistic, whatever. We do, I think just in general, a lot of like the witchcraft stuff we do really good with. We lived in Salem, Massachusetts for 3 years, and that kind of helped inspire us. And, Salem was the first place that the two of us went together on a vacation. We just really loved it. She's from Huntington Beach. I'm from New Jersey originally. and we met when we both lived out here. She was in North Hollywood. I was down here in San Diego. And we met through mutual friends, Instagram, Facebook, and we got together. And that's how all of this came about. But Salem was just kind of like a nice escape, someplace we've both never been, always wanted to go to. And that kind of took what we were doing to a different level. Just, you know, being there for 3 years and seeing the sites, learning the history, this and that. It just really helped like inspire us. And
spending a little time at the graveyards. I mean, we spent like a lot of time in graveyards, just visiting graves and hanging out. And that just really like, I mean, it's so magical and peaceful and majestic there. Like you just kind of like, you know, you feel like you belong. I know it sounds weird, but there's something about a graveyard that just feels like home for like us. Most people would be like, you guys are psycho, but it just feels very homey to us.
My mom loves graveyards. She's a member of some society where they take this big piece of paper and they put it on the grave, and then they rub it, or they do the etchings, and then they send each other. Yeah, I think it's called the Grave Society or something. Or
it's really cool.
Yeah,
There's some beautiful graves out there.
Like, people want that long-lasting stone on their head.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Lords of Salem, Rob Zombie movie. There's a Green Lawn Cemetery in Salem that they shot parts of that movie at, but it's really beautiful. There's little ponds and bridges and steps, and you know, people do bird watching there. We would just go and like walk around it, and a lot of the times, like, you know, this past weekend, even like we just got back from the pool, we do a lot of our business talks either on our walks while we're just hanging in the pool, just cooling off or whatever, or when we were traveling more before the COVID thing, just in the car, just talking. And that's how we kind of come up with ideas as well, just kind of getting into these relaxed environments. And
we also shot your music video there, though.
Yeah.
We shot a music video for him at the Green Lawn. Green Lawn, sorry.
So it's just for us. I mean, I know like some people might think it's like weird or whatever, but we just like, you know, we like that environment.
We like graves.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I went into outer space because I went in. Sometimes it happens like I have 3 different questions at once that are in my. Let me go back. So, Mark, you doing a lot of the artwork? Are you drawing it, or is it computer generated? Because
a little of both.
And our photography, we're taking our photography and he's turning it into.
That's true too. Yeah, I mean, some things like you know, it'll be like a photo I took, and then I run it through Photoshop and, you know, add the text and kind of tweak everything a little bit. So it's kind of like a mixture, really.
Right. How do you feel when you're doing that? Like, is it like meditation or like spiritual, or are you at work?
If it's like something new, and if it's something that we're into, like for instance, like we just put out a new coffee mug this morning. It's just a quote from the Hocus Pocus movie. She's drinking out of it right now.
It's my favorite movie in the whole world.
And it says, "Oh, look, another glorious morning. It makes me sick," because you know, that's what she says when she wakes up. And this one, I'm up at 6, 7 o'clock every day. She does not like to get out of bed. So that's very fitting for her. But, you know, typically lately we've been taking the weekends off, but we had this idea yesterday when we were just hanging out in the pool, and we said, hey, we should just do this. Like, you know, it's quote from a movie, but we're like, that's cool. Like, people will buy that. It'll sell, whatever. And this morning I got on the computer. I, you know, found the font and the style and this and that. We put like a little cauldron and a moon with like a witch in the middle of the mug. And
I woke up and you had it done.
Right. And like, she came down. I was like, hey, check this out. Like, what do you think? And she's like, I love it. I love it.
Yes.
So it's doing new stuff, and like the designing and the creating part, I think we both really like, and that's not work.
It doesn't get bored,
so to speak. But
doesn't get bored.
I'll tell you what does become work is, you know, we have a garage downstairs that we do all our own printing in. screen printing when it's 80 plus 90 degrees, whatever. I'm like, oh God, this
Well,
sucks. But
our machines get up to 500-600, so like
Yeah.
our garage gets like to 1,000 degrees,
Yeah.
and he's in there dripping
Right.
sweat. Like I could feel the heat coming off his body. It's like crazy. And when we first started, he doesn't give himself enough credit, but when we first started, like getting those screens, we were in New Jersey trying to get the screens in the dead of winter to blow out, and he'd be outside at dark because you can't let the light hit the screens, trying to blow it out. He'd come in with icicles hanging off him, like shining. And so this kid works in the dead of heat and in the most frigid cold for his art. And it's very, very amazing.
as I said, it's been a little bit of trial and error.
Yeah, right.
He's a monster.
How much do you sleep?
Me, not enough.
Maybe 4 hours if he's lucky.
Are you fucking serious?
Well, no, I mean,
Well, okay.
I
hold on. We do take a nap on the couch at 9 o'clock at night until 11, and then we make it up to the bed. So you might get like a nap, but this kid, our cat has us up every hour.
It's hit or miss. I mean, since we've been back in California, which has been for 7+ months now, I feel like we never. What's that?
You feel like you slept a little better?
No. I feel like I haven't gotten on like a normal schedule yet. So I've been up at like between 6 and 7. I mean, we have a crazy cat who's sleeping over there right now, and he wakes me up between 3 and 5 a.m. every day. Claws in the back, meow, meow, meow. I want my food. So I get up and I feed him, and then he doesn't like his food, and then he wakes me up again if I do even fall back to sleep. So typically, probably between 10:30 and 11 p.m. to like 3 a.m. I'm pretty much in a deep sleep, and then from there it's hit or miss if I'm up or if I fall back to sleep or this or that.
Crazy because like when he is in a deep sleep, he's in a deep sleep, and I get like normally between 1 and 2, like that's my most scared time, and I have all these like crazy dolls in our room. I watch a lot of horror movies, and I feel like the dolls move, so I'll be like this, wake up! And he's like, what's the matter? I'm scared, and he's like, oh. So he doesn't get a lot of sleep between me and the cat.
Mark, how much work have you done on the road? Because you would be a great person on the road, because that's what murdered me was like 4 hours of sleep at the most a night. Like by 2 weeks, everyone's mental,
Right. I don't think we get a lot done on the road. I think a lot of the ideas come from sitting in the car driving for like extended periods of time. Yeah. But in terms of anything else, we just pretty much, at those times had waited till we got back and just could really put things into, an element where they would become something. But while we're on the road, typically, and we drive everywhere, if when we were living in Salem, we would come out here and we would do this show in Long Beach, Midsummer Scream, every August. We drive, we'd link a few shows together where it would be a little more worthwhile to do all the driving. But in terms of getting work done in that sense, it's just set up the booth, sell what we can for the weekend. Hopefully it's a good weekend, and then, on to the next one.
I feel like most of our ideas came after the shows were ended, though, because we're like coming back high off of a show.
Right.
And like your like juices are flowing in your brain. We're like, on Sunday night, we're like, this.
Right. Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, a lot of the ideas I feel like we've come up with have been on that Sunday drive out of whatever convention we were doing or whatever. And, if it was, especially if it's a good show, we're like, oh, we made money, we're happy, we're good. We should do this or that, whatever.
You start taking those risks. And start your juice. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And like we also do custom, and like this is my most favorite vest that we made for him. I don't know if you could see it.
Yeah, Frankenstein.
And it's all this, and then it's just like the front, and he wore it in music video. So it's like this is the fun part when we get to, because he does all the studying.
Right.
I sew and do the painting, and he does painting, but all this metal he does. So we also do this type, and this is the fun stuff because it's the one-offs.
Where did the Frankenstein? Did you draw the Frankenstein, or that's
No, that's
This is from a
actually
friend.
from our friend's company, Rock Rebel.
okay?
They're based out of California too. They do all like the licensing for the Universal, all like the classic horror and stuff like that. So
Right.
we do some wholesale deals with them, and you know, use some of their shirts. She cuts them up for patches and stuff like that.
So you guys do all your own, like the moon shirt that I saw had all the fringe cut. You do that too?
That's all her. Yeah.
I just sit there and cut and then tie and then do everything. I love doing. It's very therapeutic when you get to create something new.
And that's been kind of the thing, like with us since the beginning, because you know, we've done the printing, we've done the t-shirts, this and that, but you know, I think like being a musician too, like I always kind of like those like unique things that you could wear on stage, and you know, having that cool outfit, whatever. So
Yeah.
when we started, like we kind of being
started
called
off
Rock
like
and
that.
Horror, you know, I always like horror movies. I was always into comedy and horror were the two things that I liked when we met. And I said, I don't watch movies, but I watch comedy, I watch horror. I kind of brought more like the rock and roll, like the music edge to the company, and she was way more the horror nerd. I'm not a nerd when it comes to horror movies.
Nerd. I'm like the creepy
But
nerd,
she knows all like the, you know, this and that about the genre. But it's just kind of been like this is kind of like a melting pot of who we
Rock
both
and
are
horror,
and how we brought it all together, if that makes
This your
sense.
child.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Because we're not going to have child, just our company.
Right. And the cat.
And
the cat.
Right. So, obviously, to be in any kind of business, well, I don't know if there's a business without people. What have you learned about humanity? I know, right? And let's, yeah, right. And it can be tough, right? It can
Right.
It's hard because like you want to like people, you really do, but there's some people that are so good to you when they come up and they interact with you at your booth, like, oh, I love this, and then there's just the people that you're like, how are you still alive? Do you not know common sense or etiquette? Like some people are like, tell them about the guy about the waving the money in front of your face, the nasty people. Like that's a good
I
story.
mean, right. So this goes back to like when we were doing conventions, and just briefly in terms of what you just asked, customer service can sometimes be challenging, and I'll leave it at that. But we were doing a show. This guy came up, and, you know, we sell our tank tops for $25, whatever it is. And it was like the Sunday, the end of the show. And he's like waving a $20 bill like in the air. He's like, well, I'll give you this. And I'm like, well, the person before you just paid $25, so I can't do that because that's not fair to them. Right. And he's like, well, this is what I got. And I was like, I'm not going to take it. I was like, I need 25. And, you know, would it be a different case if it was, I don't know. But I've been very big on like, we have to be fair to everybody. I'm not going to be that convention dealer that is going to
like Sunday.
Yeah, I'm not, you know, I feel like it's fair to everybody that comes that everyone should pay the same price. So long story short, this guy, he's waving the 20 and I'm like, no, I can't do it. And his daughter or whatever, like really wanted the shirt and he ended up paying the 25. I'm like, dude, like, is the extra 5 really going to break you?
And I think the only time that we really, it's really, we had like a little kid come up to us and he wanted something and he only had $10 and he was like 7 years old.
Right.
And we're like, here.
Right.
You know,
and don't get me wrong. I mean, we'll work with people, but if you're gonna come at us and be nasty, like waving it around, be like, it's Sunday, I know you do deals, and you know, and the best part about that is that half of those people that ask for the deals pull out 100 for you, and you're like, really? Right.
It's like, fuck you. And that's the shit. It's like there's so many good people. Like we've made so many connections with amazing people, but there's those sums that just remain in your brain, that just the bad kind of outweigh the good, even though the bad is so minute. Those bad people are just like that bad energy. And there's bad people that we work with at these other vendors, like other artists that are just like sharks. They're just like, oh, you know, they like try and take more, like you have to pay for your space. So like they'll try to take more space, or they'll try to, you know, steal, or they'll try to be shysters. And it's just like, it's really hard to be an artist to stay and not have to deal with shitty people, because when you're an artist, like you just like, hey, you like my art, man, I'm so fucking happy, and you're behind it, yeah, and then the next jerk comes along and blows it away. So we try to remember the good moments, but sometimes when you're on the road every weekend, it gets hard. And I'm sure, you know, you being a musician, you know what it's like you have a good crowd, and then you have some asshole in the front like spitting alcohol on you, and you're like, fuck off, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Mark, what sign is Mark? What sign are you?
Virgo.
Okay. I was just curious about you want the fairness, because I get crazy about fairness, but I'm a Libra, so it seemed like, I don't know how much plays into that, but I get crazy about fairness, and I can just make myself completely. It is hard.
I want to be for everybody, and then you feel like, well, if I do this for this person, I have to do it for this person, and then you feel guilty.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're very nice. We're very, in terms of that customer service, I think we do provide that overly, especially in person at the shows. But you know, you put a lot of people in a room together, or a hotel, or a convention center, whatever it may be, and it's hot and sweaty and it's crowded, there's lines, this and that, people just get a little snippy and a little crazy. But but I guess that, you know, it's nothing special to what we do. It's just kind of that whole retail thing in general,
which is hard. Being an artist and getting into retail is two different things. Like I thought like we make our shit and people buy it. I didn't know that there was like price gouging and all this. So it kind of ruins it for you, because you're just like, dude, it just like, I'm so happy to just make my art and be happy. And then people are like, stealing art. You have people stealing our art and stealing our ideas and price gouging and things. And you're just like, dude, we're just artists, man. We're gonna make our art, and these people, like, it's crazy. I don't know. I'm not trying to get off on a tangent.
That's good. It's good. I want. Oh, hang on a second.
is that my computer?
I'm not sure. Let's give it.
It might. Yeah, I think that's me. Let's see, hold on one sec.
Hello. No, it's not fixed.
You know what? Give me 1 sec. If I close this, do you think if I close it in like the laptop screen and open it, will I lose you?
Yeah,
because that's usually sometimes when I play. Okay.
It's okay.
Let me stop this recording here and on the other one, and we'll come back and we'll pick it up. So we're going to take a tiny little break, and we'll be right back on the audio. The video, will be the end for the video. So as the end of the video, tell us your website. Rock N Horror.
So it's rockandhorror.com. Yeah.
Good. And we'll be right back.